Welcome to Oracle APM tutorial series. Application Performance Monitoring is a service in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure that provides a set of solutions including distributed tracing, real user monitoring, and synthetic monitoring. This recording covers dashboards and metrics, which is a part 3 of the tutorial. My name is Yutaka Takatsu. I am one of the product managers in Observability and Management product management team in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. The tutorial consists of 5 different video recordings, which you can find in this Oracle channel. Each recording is 20 to 30 minutes long. Please find the video links to the other chapters from the description in this video. This is a recording of part 3, Dashboards and Metrics. Chapter 7 is Dashboards and Metrics. APM provides out-of-the-box dashboards to display details about the specific areas of service, such as real user monitoring or applications, for example. You can also create a custom dashboard with a selection of charts and graphs of your preference. APM also provides more than 100 default metrics that you can set alarms and get notified when the metric threshold is crossed. In this chapter, we'll discuss how you can use dashboards and metrics in APM. In order to use dashboards and metrics in APM, you need to have the right permissions. To use the APM dashboards, users will need permissions for management dashboard policies assigned. If you are an administrator, you can grant different levels of permissions to a user or to a user group. The example in the screen grants management permissions to a user group. This includes abilities creating a new dashboard or editing or removing existing dashboards. You can also give them limited permissions, as in read-only. Also, users will need monitoring service permissions if they need access to APM metrics in Metrics Explorer, or to create a new alarm or view alarms in the APM dashboard pages. So please ensure the prerequisites are cleared before using these features. In the previous chapters, I have mentioned that APM collects distributed tracing data from multiple different data sources that you can analyze using Trace Explorer. In addition to that, APM provides a set of predefined dashboards which you can use out of the box. You can use these dashboards to visualize the data which was collected by the data sources and display it in a different type of chart, such as bar graph, pie chart, or table view, for example. Currently, there are 4 types of predefined APM dashboards you can use. They are App Server Dashboard, Monitors Dashboard, Real User Monitoring Dashboard, and Home Dashboard. You can also create your own customized dashboard. Let's see them one by one. What you see in the screen is the user interface of the App Server Dashboard. For all predefined dashboards, there is a filtering section at the top. Here, you can select the source of the data which you want to display in the dashboard. First, select the compartment, then APM domain. Because this is an App Server dashboard, you can also select an App Server name from the pull-down menu. You can also select the time range to filter the data by time. For example, you can say, show me the status of my application server ABC from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday last week, for example. The App Server dashboard shows resource utilization data specific to the selected application server. But you can select another server from the pull-down menu, and that will reload the data from the selected server. Let's see other predefined dashboards. Here I have is a monitor dashboard which summarizes the overview of synthetic monitor runs. The dashboard consists of colorful graphical charts that visualize the statuses of monitor executions. Here you can see the total number of runs, which vantage points are used the most, load time and execution time, and the network connection time breakdown. When you place a mouse over the chart, a floating data cursor shows up and gives you the information of data point where the mouse was placed. Scrolling down the page. At the lower side of the screen, there is a summary of the monitor runs. Say there is one monitor you want to see more details about. You can click the monitor name in the row and navigate to the monitor details page. Here is the history page of the monitor where you can see the details of the individual runs. It has information of from which location it was executed, how long it took, and when that took place. And you can further narrow down to the trace details by clicking the three-dot icon at the end of each row. Here is another dashboard that is specialized in real user monitoring. It presents a view of the overall performance of a specific web application. You can see a map view which shows user information by locations, from which side of the world or countries or the regions that users are accessing the application the most and what is their experience. It also has an Apdex chart that tells you the user's satisfaction levels. This is a measurement of whether the users are happy or unhappy using the application. I will talk more about the Apdex feature later in this chapter. And finally, there is a Home dashboard. Home dashboard is a home page of the APM service and provides overall information that is monitored in a selected APM domain. So it has small portions of all the information we discussed in other dashboards, such as app servers, monitors, and real user monitoring, along with the distributed tracing information, such as traces and service topology view. And the links in the widgets, which are showing with the blue font, you can click and navigate to the detailed pages. So for example, clicking the App Server widget, this will land in Trace Explorer with relevant App Server information. And likewise, clicking the alarm name in the Alarm Detail widget opens the alarm definition page showing the alarm details. And in some cases, you may have specific business requirements which you want to see in a dashboard. In those cases, you can create your own custom dashboard that best meets the needs of your organization. So for example, you can create a dashboard specific to your production server, showing metric charts that are customized to analyze the performance. To create a dashboard, click the button from the dashboard page, then drag and drop the predefined APM widget from the library. Or you can create your own widget based on a metric, for example. Click the Save Change button, and that creates a dashboard. And besides viewing the real-time or historical data in Trace Explorer or APM dashboards, you may want to be informed under certain conditions. So for example, the response time from some of the pages in your application is taking more than 12 seconds. Oracle Cloud Infrastructure provides monitoring services which is integrated with APM. So you can use out-of-the-box metrics defined for APM to create an alarm and receive notifications when anything undesired happens in your services, applications, network, and so on. This slide shows the list of default APM metrics and dimensions that you can use to monitor your systems. There are three different metric namespaces you can use for APM. They are Oracle APM RUM, Oracle APM Synthetics, and Oracle APM Monitoring. RUM metrics are used for real user monitoring, and synthetics metrics are used for synthetic monitoring. Everything else, such as an app server monitoring, or if you have custom metrics, they go under the Oracle APM monitoring namespace. Each metric has a set of dimensions. Dimensions are the attributes of the metric and can be used to filter the metric data. So for example, you can create a metric query from the RUM metric AJAX download time with the dimension Apdex level. And using the Metric Explorer feature, you can create an alarm. So let's see how that can be done. What I have here on the screen is the Metric Explorer page. First, select your compartment, then select the metric namespace. You can select either from Oracle APM Monitoring, RUM, or Synthetics. Here in this example, I will select RUM. Next is metric. RUM metrics are already populated in the list. Select the AJAX download time metric, then update the chart. The chart at the upper side of the screen has been updated. This is a visualization of the AJAX download time for all occurrence in this compartment for the last 1 hour. To further narrow down to the selected set of data, you can use dimensions. Clicking the dimension field opens a list of dimensions that are available for the RUM metrics. Let's select Apdex level, which measures the user's satisfaction levels, and select the frustrated as a value. Then update the chart. Now it only shows the metric data which Apdex level is frustrated. This example created a metric query from the RUM metric filtered by the RUM dimension. Additionally, you can add another dimension to the query to further filter the metric data. And based on the metric query created, you can press the Create Alarm button to create an alarm. I have mentioned about Apdex, spam filters, and metric groups in previous chapters. In this chapter, I will step into more details of these features. So let's start from reviewing what is Apdex. Apdex stands for Application Performance Index and is an open standard for measuring the user satisfaction with the response times of the applications or services. APM adopted Apdex as metrics and dimensions which you can use to monitor and analyze the data from your applications. You can manage Apdex thresholds in your APM domain page. This is the configuration of how the Apdex rules are defined. So for example, when the response time of the page load is less than 2 seconds, you can assume the user is satisfied. The Apdex score will be 1. On the other hand, if the page load time is more than 6 seconds, users can be frustrated. The Apdex score in this case will be 0. So basically using Apdex, you can tell whether the application is doing well or not in terms of the user satisfaction. Apdex can be used as a metric in a query. The image in the upper right side of the screen shows Trace Explorer showing a list of traces where the Apdex score metric was included in the query. The traces with value 1 indicate their response times were less than 2 seconds. On the other hand, those with a value 0.5 responded between 2 seconds and 6 seconds. Apdex can be also used as a dimension to filter or analyze the data. At the lower right side of the screen, the image shows the number of traces that are grouped by the Apdex level. Here I can see 290 traces were in the range of satisfaction and 72 traces were tolerating, which means it is not too bad, but it wasn't very good either. Other features you can configure in the APM domain page are the spam filters and the metric groups. These features work together and allow you to create a custom dimension for metrics based on a specific set of query patterns. Say you manage a microservice application, which is a shopping cart website, and somebody told you that the checkout service is taking a very long time. And the tricky thing is, it only happens occasionally, not always. As a member of a development team, you want to use APM to monitor the performance of the checkout service in your microservice application. You want to receive an alert when a threshold policy is breached. You also want to watch the statistics and anomalies in the dashboard view. And you already know which metric you want to monitor. That is a span duration in this case. The problem is there is no out-of-the-box dimension in which you can filter the metric in order to narrow down the selection specific to the checkout service. And this is where the metric group can be used. Metric group is created along with a spam filter in your APM domain. First, define a query pattern in the spam filter. In this example, that is service equals to checkout. And define which metric the filter can be used. This will push the metric data to the monitoring service and becomes available as a custom dimension which you can select in the Metric Explorer. Metric data can be used to create an alarm, which can be configured to receive notifications, or can be used to create a custom chart in a dashboard. So that was an overview of how the metric group works. Let's review the features with a little more detail. Enablement of the metric group comes with twofold steps. The step 1 is to create a spam filter in the APM domain. Spam filter basically is a set of spans which is a result of executing the query. It consists of two attributes, the name and the pattern. So for example, you can say the service name is storefront and operation name is checkout. To create a pattern, you will need to know what dimensions are available and use correct names and values. To find them out, you can refer to the list of dimensions in the field section in Trace Explorer. The best practice creating a valid pattern is to run predefined queries in the Trace Explorer, play around, and modify the query. Once you have a satisfied result, copy the text from the query view. The step 2 is to create a metric group. Metric group is a custom dimension which can be created in the APM domain page. And it is created based on a span filter, so you will need to have a span filter as a prerequisite to create a metric group. Then specify which metrics the filter can be used against. You can specify one or more metrics here. Once the metric group is created, the metric data is pushed to the monitoring service. Next, let's see how that can be done in Oracle Cloud Console page. Here is the APM domain page open on my screen. To create a span filter, select the span filters link under the resources, then click Create Filter. The Create Span Filter pane opens at the right-hand side of the screen. Here, specify the name and the pattern. In this example, the pattern includes two conditions, service name equals to WSK storefront and operation name equals to checkout. Then click Create. Now you have a span filter. Next is to create a metric group. In the Create Metric Group pane, which is open in the right-hand side of the screen, enter the name of the metric group. Then select the span filter name, which you created in the previous step from the pull-down menu. Then select the namespace for the metric and select metrics. In this example, span duration is selected as a metric, but you can add more metrics as needed. You can refer to the graphical image to validate the data, then click Create. Once you create a metric group, you can go to the Metric Explorer page and create an alarm for a metric that is filtered by the metric group. Select Compartment, Metric Namespace, then select the metric name. Here you select the span duration because that is the metric which your metric group is created against. Next, from the Dimension Name pull-down menu, select Metric Group Name and select the metric group you created in the previous step as a value. And let's see the queries created. There are two metric streams. Dark blue is without anomalies and light blue is with anomalies. Okay, so I have verified the data. So let's click Create Alarm. This will navigate you to the alarm definition page. There are few more steps to complete the creation of the alarm. Many of the steps are pre-entered already, but you will need to enter the name of the alarm and its severity. Make sure the right metric is selected, then specify the correction interval and aggregation statistics. And most importantly, ensure the correct metric group is selected. In this example, selected metric group is checkout MG. Then set the threshold. This is a condition when to trigger the alarm. And finally, define the notification methods. For example, you can configure the topic to send you an email notification or run a corrective action to remediate the problem. To complete, click Save Alarm button and the alarm will be created. Now the alarm is created, you can verify it in the APM dashboard. Here I have is a custom dashboard created for a demo purpose. In the alarm details section showing at the left side of the page, you can see the checkout span alarm, which is triggered with severity critical. By clicking the link, it will navigate you to the alarm definition page where you can see the detailed information of the alarm. And if you configure the topic to receive email notifications, the same information will be delivered to your mailbox. Going back to dashboard. In this custom dashboard, there are bar charts that represent the status of the metric. One is for the span duration of the checkout service and another monitors anomalies. So let's see how these metrics charts are created. by entering the Edit mode of the dashboard. Click icon to edit the widget. And here is where you can modify the custom bar chart anomalies for checkout service. Under the source data, click the three-dot icon next to the metric name, and this will open the Edit Source Data window where you can see how the source data or the metric is set. Here you can confirm that the metric span duration with the metric group checkout is selected as a source data in order to create this chart. This is the end of the recording of Part 3, Dashboards and Metrics of Application Performance Monitoring Service in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Please find the links to other chapters of APM tutorial series from the description in this video. Thank you for watching.